So would they go back in now, or have they gone back in and like filled in my head with hair?
That's a great question.
That is a great question.
Nicole, we need hair.
Nicole, can you push this for 26? Just a full head of hair?
I would be honored to drive that. That is something that I can handle. Yeah.
Unfiltered Soccer with Landon and Tim, presented by Volkswagen. Volkswagen has long been a supporter of soccer in America and has proudly been a partner of U.S. soccer for over 5 years. All right, guys, welcome in to another edition of Unfiltered Soccer. Landon and Tim, as always, please follow the show on social media, Unfiltered Soccer. Subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can watch on YouTube. If you like what we're doing, please leave a rating. It helps, and a review. It helps people find us. And then you can always email Jordan feedback at Unfiltered Soccer. All right, Timmy, great guest
Super
today.
pumped. I got a lot of questions.
Not only am I excited because I've played video games and I've played EA video games my whole life, but my kids are stoked. They're going to want to listen to this. We have an assistant producer from EA Sports, Nicole Baxter, and we're going to let Nicole tell her story. But Nicole, before we get into your backstory, how you ended up at EA, my first question for you is, in 2001, I'm sure you were not at EA then. I went up to Vancouver, put on the suit, the motion sensors, all the things. I spent all day there. They put me on the cover. I was so stoked. I played the game for the first time and thought my rating was going to be like a 97, and it was an 83.
That's high, 83.
That's the thing that people don't understand is that's a good rating.
That's not a good rating. An 83 is a B-. So my first question for you, Nicole, is can you find the person who decided on the 83? I'd like to have a conversation. And we will get into how that happens. But first, give us a little feedback or a little intro on you, how you ended up there from a playing career and then ended up working for EA Sports.
Yeah, so I was playing in the NWSL. I played in Sweden for a little bit. So I played up until early 2023. And then when I was deciding on whether to retire, I was just looking at jobs online and trying to figure out a way that I could stay in women's sports, full disclosure, without working for like a women's sports company per se. Like I wanted to go from playing in the NWSL, which kind of felt like a startup environment, to like working for some sort of big corporation. So I started applying for jobs online. And we had just done our body scans for EA Sports. So like EA was at the top of my mind. So started applying for jobs online, and I came across a vice president position for like Madden. And I was like, heck yeah, clicked apply. And within like 3 minutes, I got an email from an EA recruiter that was like, you obviously can't have the job that you applied for, but let's try to find something that you can do here. And he like really went out of his way to reach out to a bunch of different like game titles at EA. And they happened to have an unposted job opening for like a women's soccer expert on the live content team, which is in charge of Ultimate Team.
Very ambitious. I love it.
Very ambitious. And it was like so classic. Like I don't know what my skill set is, so let's just apply for anything. The salary was like $300K. I was coming off of like a $30K salary in the NWSL. I was like, I like that one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's why I ended up there. Yeah, it worked out.
And so like I will admit I've also been up to Vancouver and worn the suit and done all the stuff, which is amazing. And we talked offline. I'll take a trip to Vancouver any day. And I just remember thinking, I'm so terrible at this video game. Like literally, like like even now when I do a bunch for, and I know Landon does a bunch for EA when the game comes out, you know, whether that be like watch parties, launch parties, different things, and it's great. But like every time they're like, "Hey Tim, we have another celeb in the room. Can we get some content of you guys playing?" And I'm like, "Sure." And I'm looking at the buttons and I'm going like, "How do you pass kick?" And I just talk myself through the game. It's terrible.
When you're an assistant producer on the live content team, can you help us understand what that is? And then you help with player selection and the creation in the Ultimate Team. And for people who aren't super aware of that, I know my kids are all over that, but what do those both mean? So
do you guys play Ultimate Team at all? Or I would assume you're maybe a little familiar with, And you're also, I think, you're both in the game, obviously, but I'm sure you've done some like photo shoots for different campaigns that we do. So basically in Ultimate Team, it's like a live game mode where we release new players throughout the week and they get more and more powerful and they're more and more exciting. So maybe I keep using Messi, but Messi starts with an 84, but then say we do a campaign that's themed around really great international players and we suddenly give Messi a better rating with a new action shot and a different color shell. And it's like this interactive game mode. So that is like mostly what I do is work in that game mode. And I select the players that we're going to use for those different campaigns. And then I create the players like using our tooling system. And I work pretty closely with the data collection and licensing team because a lot of our campaigns are based around like authentic football. Like, for example, we did last year a campaign to highlight like the women's Euros. And so you sometimes rely on the DCL team to give you a list of players that are participating in the Euros, players that are expected to perform really well in the Euros and stuff like that.
And from your experience, so you played at Gotham. You said you played in Denmark, Sweden
For a hot second. Yep.
So are you actively pushing the women's game? Are you always in people's ears saying, can we do more? Can we put right?
Constantly.
Because it's been great
I'm tired
to
of
see
hearing
that.
my own voice.
Yeah, it's been great to see that evolution, and it's a long time coming. So my assumption is you're in your boss's ears all the time,
Constantly.
Trying to.
I mean, it's why I took the job. Like, I grew up casually playing. I was called FIFA at the time, but I played it casually, and like I would play with the Chelsea men's team and I would play with Didier Drogba, and he was my favorite player for like 10 years, and I had never seen him play in person. Like, I still to this day don't even know if I ever watched a Chelsea game at that age when he was still playing. So like, I understood the power of the video game, and that is why I wanted this job, was because I saw an opportunity to put the women in the video game and like create that fandom for them. And it's like, it's been amazing. This is my 3rd year doing it. I think this is the 3rd game title that they're now in for Ultimate Team. And by now we have the women's players like across all of the game modes. You're seeing that they're gaining like these social followings. It's been really cool to watch that as like someone who's working on it, but then just see how people are reacting to it like throughout the public.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fascinating phenomenon because you touched on it, and it was going to be my next point. When I played in Europe, Landon's played in Europe, and we've always had to answer the question of like, how do Americans learn the game? Because it's not our game. We didn't grow up with soccer, and I would often tell them like, the American fan is different. We learn soccer very differently, and I point to your example with Didier Drogba, but Landon and I have friends in a lot of other sports. My friends that were going back to the 2000s that were in the NFL and played in the NBA, they're like, yo, I gotta go to Barcelona to see Messi, and I'm like, why? He's like, yo, I play FIFA or EA every time on the road, and I'm like, this is a guy who's never kicked a soccer ball, knows nothing about soccer. The only educational medium he had was a video game, and that's for like millions of people. And so I think for the women's game, that's exciting because it's like people will learn more about the women's game through a video game, which isn't a bad thing because half of our country learned about it. And so do you still get that sense as you're more immersed in EA as your obviously full-time job that do you see how impactful it can be in the soccer landscape?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, people are suddenly watching women's European football, like they're tracking NWSL players. The perfect example, actually, we did this campaign in Ultimate Team. It was like a fantasy campaign where we pick a bunch of players and they get upgraded based on like their performance in real life. And we had this player item for Frida Rolfo, who was at the time playing at Barcelona. And when we first released the item, like a big thing in Ultimate Team is kind of like their links, and she's Swedish, so that's not like the most popular country of players to play with. So when we first released that player item, people were like, eh. And then they realized that the Barcelona women's team is absolutely filthy, and that this player item was going to upgrade really quickly and become really powerful. And suddenly people were watching all their games. People were commenting on all of her stuff on social media. Like, it got to a point where she was posting being like, what is this? Like, why are you all yelling at me? Like, And at the time, she was coming back from an injury.
Uh-huh.
And so I selected her, like, and this is where my player knowledge comes in. I had seen like little inklings of maybe she might be on the track to be healthy for this next game. Like I saw photos of her in training. I saw what she was participating in, and I'm like, I think she's going to be healthy enough for this campaign. And it just like popped off. And suddenly she was posting with her new player item. All these new fans were commenting on her stuff. Like it's incredible what this video game can do for women's soccer and women's sports. And that's like the example I use every time.
Yeah. I have so many examples too, Nicole. So growing up, I was, I'd played in a World Cup, played in the Olympics, was, won an MLS Cup, whatever. The minute I was on the cover of at that time FIFA, my friends would text me and be like, dude, you're actually a real player. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I just
suddenly they respect you.
Totally. And it's true. And I'm like, we're making light of it, but it's true. Like my daughter now, she's 6 years old. She's playing EA. Like she's playing all the time. We did this game. We were in the jacuzzi the other night and we were doing, okay, let's name soccer players and go around with my 3 kids. But you can't say the same name twice. And she was rattling off names. And to Tim's point, this is how I learned about soccer players. I couldn't watch on TV. We didn't have TV. So this is how people are learning. And I think it's phenomenal. Okay. So speaking of cover athletes, this is such a great talking point. So how do you decide? How does EA decide? I know EA now will do multiple athletes sometimes based on where you're located or 3 on a cover or whatever. What goes into that? And what I'm really curious, behind the scenes, is there lobbying? I'm sure. Are agents calling? Or how does this how does this happen?
So my team doesn't handle that. So I actually don't know the answer to that. But from afar, I feel like I watch the other teams that deal with that. And it seems like they always pick the perfect players. And it feels to me like EA is really good at telling a story with their cover athletes. It's gone from kind of just picking I feel like back in the day, it would really be the most popular player at the time. And now you see
someone
they
like
have
me,
yeah, of course, someone
popular.
as amazing as you. And now they have Bellingham and Musiala, and they're telling the story of how they grew up playing together. So I actually don't know what goes into how they pick that cover athlete. I'm kind of told around the same time that you are. But I can admire how they tell the story on the cover. The fact that they have Ibra sitting there on the cover, that stuff to me makes you want to buy the game more. It's brilliant marketing.
Of course. And to be fair, for the player, you would almost do it for free because of it's like singing at the halftime Super Bowl.
Totally.
It's you would do it for free because of the promotion and the marketing,
totally.
Right?
Yeah.
The Unfiltered Soccer podcast is brought to you by Volkswagen, the presenting partner of U.S. Soccer.
As the U.S. gets ready to host the world for soccer's biggest moment, Volkswagen is helping people discover new turfs and new ways to play the beautiful game right here in the U.S.
From deaf and power wheelchair soccer to beach and futsal, VW is actively supporting all the communities and teams within the U.S. soccer ecosystem. They've signed U.S. soccer talent from across the portfolio of the Federation and will be helping to give these less popular forms of soccer a platform moving forward.
As a longtime friend of Volkswagen, I'm excited to support them in their mission to increase visibility of all forms of soccer.
Earlier this year, Landon and I got to see the redesigned 2025 Tiguan at one of our Unfiltered live events. Make sure you check it out in person and learn more at VW.com. There's nothing better than feeling like someone has your back and that things are going to get done without you even having to ask.
Like fans who start to sing and chant at the exact moment their team needs to rally.
A coach who can change strategies at halftime to help their team win.
A keeper is defending your goal.
Or a forward who is always ready to receive the ball.
At Unfiltered Soccer, Tim and I know all too well how important it is to be sure someone out there has your back. And that's precisely why AT&T has a new guarantee.
The AT&T guarantee is all about having your back. When you're with AT&T, if there's a network interruption, they'll proactively make it right with a credit for a full day of service, guaranteed.
Visit att.com/guarantee to learn more. Terms and conditions apply.
AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Credit for fiber downtime lasting 20 minutes or more, or wireless downtime lasting 60 minutes or more, caused by a single incident impacting 10 or more towers. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See att.com/guarantee for full details. All right, Timmy, I want to tell you about a time I had to choose a much chiller path. 2009 in Seattle, we're playing Real Salt Lake in the MLS Cup final. We go to penalties. Who misses a penalty? This guy.
You.
Got back on the bus. I was crying in the back of the bus. And I had this moment where I had a realization that, yes, I missed the penalty. Yes, we lost chance at winning an MLS Cup final. But I said, you know what? Like, I did everything I could have. I tried my hardest, and it didn't work out. And when you embrace that chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill. And as always, crack open a Coors Light.
Make the most of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit CoorsLight.com/USLNT. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Beer. But you talked about ratings. I think ratings are probably the biggest talking point of the game. Like it's become its own beast, right? Whether that be a player you like that isn't rated high enough, or if it's yourself in the game, everyone looks for the ratings. So, can you share with us a little bit how those come about? And again, Landon and I disagree on his rating. I think it was too high. He thinks it's too low. But what's the formula or like what's the algorithm to come up with that?
Yeah, and I'm actually excited to talk about this because I saw some of your videos where you were trying to guess like the highest rated player, like men's national team goalkeeper. You looked at Messi's rating and you were like, what the heck is going on here? And I can really relate to that side of it as like a footballer. Like you look at some of these ratings and you're like, I cannot possibly understand how they came up with Messi being an 84. But it's actually like a really intricate system that I've grown to really like admire and respect since working at EA Sports. And we have an entire like data collection and licensing team based out of Germany. And they have individual producers dedicated to tracking all of the leagues that are in the game, both men's and women's leagues. And they use different stats. They scout matches, they watch matches in person and online. Like it's really, really detailed and intricate. And so I try to remind myself, like when I'm looking at these ratings, like these people probably know better than I do. But there's always like that, you always have an opinion on certain players, or like there's always going to be some aspect of like subjectivity. But when it comes down to it, the ratings are so intricate because there's like all you really see as a user is like you pay attention to the OVR and like the face stats, but there's all these sub attributes, there's play styles, there's different roles, and those all contribute to like the power of a player item. So it's actually like a lot, I keep saying the word intricate, but it's a lot more intricate than you would think when you just like look at a player and see their OVR rating.
So how much, when we're looking at teams, you talked about kind of the algorithm and all the scouts. Is a Real Madrid getting as much time where they're getting the most time? But then you look at, I don't know, let's say a second or third division team in England or something like that. Like how is that broken down from a scouting standpoint?
Yeah, so every DCNL producer is assigned to specific leagues, and that doesn't just go for like the top leagues, that goes for second, third, fourth tier leagues. Like every league that's in our game has a DCNL producer that is assigned to pay attention to them. So everyone's getting the same amount of attention and the same amount of love. And yeah, we treat everyone like very equally.
But Nicole, is it like, okay, you're being very diplomatic. I respect that. Is it like the intern who just signed is doing like League Two in England and Accrington Stanley and Gillingham, and like the person who's been there for 15 years is doing Chelsea? For sure. Like it has to be, right?
That's definitely, I mean, it's definitely possible. But like, I know, for example, I was just speaking with a producer who works on, she's like one of the main producers for Liga F, which arguably I would say the NWSL is the best league in the world, but Liga F, top league in the world, like has the top team in the world. She's also assigned to the French League 2. So it's like these people, no matter which leagues they're focusing on, like they all know the same, if that makes sense. And so it's not necessarily like, oh, well, the most veteran producers get La Liga or, you know.
But you're not giving the most veteran producer like
French League 2.
Port Vale. There's no way.
I
right?
would
I would
highly
assume
doubt
not.
that.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
here's a comment though, as you're talking through that for the three soccer people having this conversation. Like, am I crazy to say, LD, that like you could take one of these scouts and plug them into a real team? Like, hear me out for a second.
Of course, they
Their
know.
scout-
Yeah.
They know
Their
a lot.
knowledge.
Yeah.
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 All right, we might be onto something here. If you're a team owner or GM or technical director, this could be the way forward.
Yeah, like they might watch more football than
100%.
the average person.
100%.
And they're watching levels of football that you probably wouldn't want to watch.
Right.
That's
So
what I'm
they're
saying.
probably learning about a lot of different players.
I think we've just cracked a code here. I think we just cracked it. We need to buy a team and then implement these as scouts. That's incredible.
Deal.
And full disclosure, like I saw your video where you guys were like the people who do the EA ratings must be the same people who do the FIFA rankings.
That was I'll tell you why.
That was hilarious.
That's a Landon comment, because here's why. Here's why. Here's why. Because going back to ratings and a little bit what Landon was saying, once I was in the video game, I made it. Like, my rating could have been a 23. I didn't care. I was in a video game, and as a kid growing up, when I did, I was like, I made it. I'm famous.
Yeah, 100%. The ratings are still scary though. Like, so I was rated in the game. I never made it into the game because I had retired. And when I first started working here, some of the DCNL producers were like, "Do you want to know your rating?" And I was like, "No, I really don't think I do."
Absolutely
like, I'm
not.
terrified to know this. And I can't remember if they told me or not, but then I was in their ratings database yesterday, and I was thinking about this podcast, and I'm like, "Oh, let me just like search my name," because they have all the retired players in there. I tried to click on my name, and it was like, "You're not authorized to look at this." I was like, "This is probably for the best."
That's a blessing.
So like,
Yeah.
So I understand why it's like just being in the game is simply not good enough. You need a good rating.
For me, it was.
Tim,
It was good. For me, it was.
Do you guys ever hear from players about, or agents or stuff about ratings?
Yeah, we do.
That's amazing.
For
Without
sure.
naming names, can you give us like
Yeah.
an example of a conversation? Like,
I can
That's so
remember,
good.
and sometimes it's not even through agents. Like, remember, I have a lot of friends in the NWSL. I've had NWSL players, NWSL coaches text me and be like, "What is going on here?" And sometimes I agree with them. Like, sometimes I totally agree where I look at an item and I'm like, I don't understand what DCNL was looking at. Like, I thought this was one of the fastest players in the league. Like, how is this their speed? I can remember an example. It was either from last year or the year before. It was like, this one wasn't through an agent. This was kind of through like friends of friends of friends. It got back to us that like a big time player was really disappointed with the defending that we gave him. And it's funny.
That's
like
so good.
I love hearing the feedback, but we can also kind of work with that. Like just like our marketing team likes telling stories for the cover, we also like that in Ultimate Team. Like, if someone is outwardly talking about something, that's like motivation for us to like work with that in some way. Like, I think Yamal, he did something in a game and he posted on Twitter or Instagram, and he was like, "Yo, I need that Travella." It was like a Travella or a Trickster play style, and we were like, well, maybe we should give it to him.
Right,
you know?
right.
So it's like,
God, this is
I like
amazing.
when players give their feedback.
Sure.
Like, I want to know what they want to see.
You're
So
gonna
I
get
think it's
bombarded
really
now.
fun.
You're gonna
You
get
are going to
bombarded.
get
It's
absolutely blasted.
know.
Every NWSL
by
player
me
is
as
gonna-
well.
I know.
My rating's going up because I'm
Yeah,
on a campaign.
I'm going to say
Yeah,
that this is the
absolutely.
dumbest comment, but I swear it's true. And I'm just going to out myself right now. If I had known that while I was playing and like my defending was a 65, I would have defended harder. I swear on my life. And
I
it's
don't
the
disagree
dumbest
at
comment,
all.
but I swear I would have. It
There's
would have
some games
motivated me.
I wish you would have in some games.
Yeah, I'm not much of a defender either.
No, he was way too good. We need him up the pitch.
Yeah.
Who are the highest rated player, men and female and male?
Oh, in the game.
Who are they
right
and what are
now.
they? Do you know? You can bring that up.
Um,
That's amazing. You have
That's
this
a great
database.
question.
Oh, I guess I could just Google it probably.
I would say I could guess.
We have icons and heroes in the game as well, like
Yeah.
as you guys know. So they are the highest rated players.
Oh, they'll
but-
be higher rated than the current
Ronaldinho,
players.
bro.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
high. He's got to be high.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Him,
Yeah, like Pele's in there.
Right.
Who are the highest
Well,
rated? I
maybe
should
current.
probably know this. So
What about Bon Mati? the highest rated?
Bonmati, she's a 91. Her and
Dude,
Pateas
she's
are
91.
they've been riding those high spots for the past like 2 or 3 years. But that's why I'm like, those are some of the best like footballers I've ever seen, and they're 91, 84. Oh my God, I would pay EA Sports for 84.
I just don't believe that. I don't believe that.
I now know.
Is good.
LD, you're making me think. Like, I want to know what my highest ever rating was. That's weird.
You want me to look it up?
It would. It would have to be after the 2014 World Cup. I'm almost certain of it.
I bet our
93. It did
93. What?
Wow, really?
That's amazing.
There's
sick.
no way. Kyle,
There is a way.
He's messing with us.
There
dude.
is a way.
There's no way you were 93.
Have you watched?
To be
me
fair,
play.
I don't know if there would be a
witnessed
goalkeeper that
greatness.
was a 93.
LD 96. Let's go.
When?
Yeah, but is that is that for
That's now.
Ultimate Team, or is that
Yeah, who knows?
You know, Nicole, I think that's
Let's just stop talking.
on.
Let's just stop talking.
Interesting.
93, 96. We're done. Wrap this thing up.
cut that part.
Okay, so we have ratings, and then we talked about going back in the day when we would go to Vancouver. You said they would come to you with like a mobile truck and put on the motion sensors, whatever. They obviously can't do that for every single player in the game, right?
Right. So they do. So they do that. They do the scans for every single player, but you don't all start off looking exactly like yourself. So there's like a certain percentage of players, like when the game releases, that they have their star heads, is what they call it. So when the game releases, it would be like X percentage of this league has their star heads, and as the game goes on, more and more players get it. And I really just think that's like a capacity thing. Like, you can't. It's like how slow would that upload if all of those were put in at once?
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of like spread it out. So obviously, like the highest rated players or the players that contribute the most, usually the ones who like start the game with their. But
you're not physically scanning every single player in the game.
Oh
right?
Yeah.
So they go to every team and scan them.
Yeah.
So,
at least that was my
insane.
experience with it.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
if anyone was going to not be scanned, it would have been me.
You got scanned.
I was barely playing, but I got scanned. Everyone got scanned.
LD, it was like at the end of my Everton career. So that's like 2016. So like on media day when you do all the green screen stuff. Hey, I'm Tim Howard.
Of it.
You jumped in the thing and it went right. That's the one that goes around. Sorry, that goes around you, right? The cameras that like fly around you.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
and then what about like getting everyone's movements accurate, right? Because you can't do that through a scan.
Yeah. So like the scan that I did, it was standstill. So that would just mean that like my body and my face and my hair and all of that stuff looks the same, but they don't have me like running.
Right. So there's only so many athletes they can actually have running with the motion, right? Because I do remember watching going, God, he actually runs like me.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah, but you probably did it like a whole thing in the Vancouver studio,
I
right?
did.
Like you're probably kicking the ball, running around. It's like,
That's right.
And that tracks for like someone of your caliber, but
so would they go back in now, or have they gone back in and like filled in my head with hair?
That's a great question.
They should, right?
That is a
Nicole,
Nicole,
can you
we
push this
hair.
for 26? Just a
I would
full
be
head of hair?
honored to drive that.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
That is something that I can handle. Yeah.
Let's go.
That would be
What
sick.
about me? I don't really want a hair move, but maybe I can have a wig.
I saw actually you did a podcast and you showed up with a.
We did. That was
He's
here.
a clown.
I was just.
That's
I was
the
just
picture we're
moral
going to use
support.
for you.
Moral support for my
That'd
guy.
be great if you had that in the game.
Yeah, try to get that in the game.
Yeah, Landon needs hair for the next edition, please.
Let's go.
No.
Do you get feedback from who are the most popular teams that people play with?
Yeah, we do. We have those numbers somewhere. But I mean, like most of what I pay attention to, full disclosure, is like the women's stuff. Like people love the FC Barcelona women's team. It's kind of like the teams you would expect, to be honest. And I like really want to drive it towards like giving love to some of like the smaller teams or smaller players. Like that's a goal of mine, especially for the women, like creating new fandom around different teams that maybe aren't as popular, like Paris FC in France, like really good women's team, but they're so overshadowed by PSG and Lyon. But yeah, we do like, it's those main leagues, the Barcelonas, the Real Madrids, like your classic Premier League teams, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, it's all the teams from the leagues that you would expect that are the most popular to play with.
Just a quick follow up to that. Have you all seen a rise with Inter Miami because of Messi?
Oh yeah.
That's crazy. I mean,
Mhm.
that's insane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean the MLS in general, like,
Sure.
and we also have legal requirements. So if we want to use Messi in campaigns, like we are obligated to use other MLS players as well. So I mean, what he's done for like the business of the MLS, and he's like the epitome of like rising tides lift all ships. Is that the saying? Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'll finish on this, and it's just more of a comment than a question. And for someone who has a daughter, and Tim has a daughter who plays at Tennessee, it's been what you're doing and is remarkable for the women's game. And I can't stress this enough because, my wife gets mad sometimes when my kids are playing EA video games, right? And I said, well, it's better than some fighting game or whatever. And it's better than them, sitting and watching YouTube videos all day. And I learned so much, not only about players, but just about how to play and how to move and how to run by playing the game, by actually playing the video game. And I don't know what the data is on this, but I really do think it helped me, and it helped me become a professional. And
Totally.
and equally, you are growing the sport, particularly on the women's side, exponentially. And you say you want Paris FC and you want these teams to grow bigger, but they're going to naturally, because as people are like, oh, Bon Mati, and they watch the Women's Euros and they watch the World Cup in 27 and then 31 and here at the US probably, they're going to get into it and be like, oh, I want to see her and I want to play her or whatever. And then the byproduct is they'll play against Paris SC when they're playing, in the French league or whatever, and all those players will get lifted. So I just want to say kudos to you. You're doing a fantastic job. This flew by the way. We're already at 30 minutes. We could do this forever, but thank you so much. This has been really enlightening and really helpful for our audience and for me.
Yeah,
we enjoyed it.
course.
I mean, we had a lot of questions that we didn't know the answer to, and you provided incredible insight. So that was fun. That was a ton of fun. I know our listeners are going to get a kick out of that because I have a feeling a lot of them are playing the game.
And there's gonna be a lot of
I might get a lot of tags on social media now.
Now you will. Yeah. From Landon's agent.
Full disclosure, I didn't do the initial ratings.
You're gonna
Just here
DMs
to
are gonna fill
advocate
up.
for the company.
All the NWSL players are gonna fill up your DMs.
Yeah, right.
And we also found out that you are in Jersey on the least coast, as Tim likes to call it. So next time I'm there, let's get together and follow up more. It'd be fun for all of us to sit and chat. So thanks, Nicole.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you, Nicole, for joining us and providing incredible insights. We appreciate all of you for being here today. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of comments and questions about all this. So fill up the mailbag, email Jordan. Remember, as always, to subscribe, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts, and follow us on social media at Unfiltered Soccer for more content.
Yes, thank you, Nicole, for your insight. Amazing. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And really, really importantly, thank you to our presenting sponsor, BW, as well as AT&T and Coors Light. Have an amazing week. Don't forget, Season 2 of Unfiltered Soccer is coming November 11th.